Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do a really short one. It's really just about the Celtics. So the Boston Celtics are now down 2-0 to the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. The other day in my Celtics and Patriots preview and review of their first games respectively, leading up to their second games, I said the Celtics would win. I thought they would win. I thought they would pull out of that game with a win, come out of that game with a win. So it's pretty disappointing to see them down 2-0 and in the fashion that they've managed to dig themselves into this hole. So they've blown double-digit leads in both games. I believe it was game one was 14 and game two was 17, or the other way around. It doesn't really matter once you reach those scores and proceed to blow those kinds of leads. Doesn't really matter which game it was. So the bottom line is the Celtics have to do better. They seem like they can't finish these games, and these turnover numbers are just outrageous. 20 turnovers or whatever it is. It's nearly, if not reaching 20 turnovers seemingly every game. And the Miami Heat are a tough defensive team. Like, they're led by Jimmy Butler, and he's one of the best wing defenders in the league right now. So you're going to have turnovers against a team like this, but you just can't have that many. I think the Celtics, obviously they're not thinking like this, but they got away with like a 20 turnover game. It was game one, I believe, against the Toronto Raptors in the previous series, and they still blew the Raptors out in game one. And it seemed like it was a really good start, but at the same time, they couldn't afford to make those kinds of turnovers again. And this is a way tougher team than the Toronto Raptors. Like I said, again, going back to my last video, I think this is a real, or at least I thought this was like a real 7-game series. The last series wasn't a real 7-game series. The Celtics could have won that in 5 as long as they don't let up that buzzer beater. So I genuinely believe the Celtics were a better team than the Raptors, and overall they're a better team than Miami Heat, but it's by not as large of a margin, especially because the Miami Heat they only have one loss in the playoffs so far, and it didn't even matter. The series was already over against the Milwaukee Bucks. So these turnovers are not good. You can't win games in the NBA with like almost, if not 20 turnovers every game. It's a rarity, especially a blowout like the Raptors game. It's just a complete rarity, and it just doesn't happen. So they got to figure something out. The reports were coming out that afterwards, after the game in the locker room, whatever semblance of a locker room the teams have down in Orlando, the reports were that there was arguing in the locker room. Sounded like maybe chairs and items were being thrown. Marcus Smart was furious. He's trying to be the leader of this team. Jaylen Brown's, it sounded like those two were going at it, and Jaylen Brown tried saving face afterwards, saying how great Marcus Smart is in an interview and all of that. But it's okay to have moments like that. It's okay to argue in the locker room after a loss, try to figure things out. But the thing is, it has to lead to a win. It has to actually lead to something. If they're arguing like this, imploding, and they're gonna look even, and if they look even worse on the court tonight in Game 3, then there's a serious long-term problem, I think, with this team. If they can pull out a couple of wins here, the next couple of games, then great, it worked, because Brad Stevens ended up meeting with the core players of the team to talk things over with them. And if that, like I said, if that leads to something like a win or multiple wins, great. But if they just get either swept or they're down 3-0 and maybe it's like a gentleman's sweep where they lose 4-1, there's a serious long-term problem with the Boston Celtics if that's the case. I don't want to see that, because I love Marcus Smart. I don't know if he should be the leader of this team. Being the heart and soul of a team and being the leader of a team are two different things. Marcus Smart can be the heart and soul of the Celtics all he wants. That's perfectly fine, and it makes so much sense. But being the leader of this team makes no sense at all. He can be a leader, one of them, but being the guy, that has to be Jason Tatum or Kemba Walker or one of the all-stars. One of the all-stars has to be that guy. You can't have a guy that is normally under normal circumstances, regular circumstances, with everyone healthy, he's the sixth man on this team. Gordon Hayward starts, not Marcus Smart. There's a reason for that. I'm not saying Marcus Smart is bad, but there's a reason he's the sixth man on this team and not a normal regular starter. So that guy can't be your leader. He can't. He really can't. And he's really got to stop shooting so much. I know people, he can get hot, and he saved the Celtics one of the games against the Raptors, but he has, I think I saw a stat somewhere where he has like nearly, if not 30 shots that in 2 games. That's not okay. He cannot be, that's not good. That's not good for Marcus Smart to be taking that many shots. And I love the guy. Trust me, I really do. I'm not bashing him. And if this really is like a long-term implosion, then he might be the guy out the door, and I don't want to see that at all. So they just, hopefully it was it led to something constructive, the arguments and the throwing of things and the clashing in the locker room afterwards, and the meeting that led up to it. So, or the meeting that followed it. So that's really what I have to say about them. For the previous game, for tonight's game, it's a must-win. I don't know how, and there really isn't any other way to put it. It's a must-win. They have to win, or the series is absolutely over. It might be over now. We don't know. It's really going to be telling. Tonight's really going to be telling. And at first, I thought maybe the Celtics need to come out and just blow out the Miami Heat, and that would be a real statement win and might get them back on track. I would just take a win. Now that I've really thought about it, talked with some people, they need to get a win. They just need to win. Maybe in game 4, if they can win tonight, then there's a blowout, and then things, the momentum might switch then. They just need to get a win. They need to not blow a lead, and they need to get a win. That's what it is. So I don't know. It seems like the third quarter is like the worst time of the game for the Celtics, which isn't good, because you come out a half. It's a pretty close game normally. Maybe they're up by almost 10 or around, something like that. But then the other team goes on a huge run. The Celtics are shooting threes. They're not the three-point shooting team that the Miami Heat are. They have scores. The Celtics are a better team overall, and they have scorers and shooters. But the Miami Heat have better shooters. And Duncan Robinson hitting 6 threes is just a backbreaker. Like, that cannot be happening. I know he's a really good three-point shooter. I know he has a great story, but this is the Boston Celtics. You can't be letting up 6 three-pointers to a guy that is not a star in this league, especially when Marcus Smart is technically guarding him, and he's a first All-NBA team defender. That's not a good look. So Jason Tatum needs to stop turning the ball over. He needs to move faster. I know I love him. Everyone loves him. He's a great scorer. He's the future. But he needs to stop turning that ball over, and he needs to like make things move faster. He's very slow. I don't know if you notice. When he has the basketball, he creates things very slowly. And I know most of the time it leads to a basket, but imagine if he actually moved with some speed and like with the ball in his hand. Like he does not move quickly with the basketball in his hand. You like really pay attention to that tonight. Like I'm telling you, he does not move quickly. Maybe he'll change that tonight, hopefully. And I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. But he just does not normally move quickly with the basketball in his hand, and it's not good because that ends up leading to turnovers and double teams and missed baskets that could be huge for the team. Kemba Walker looked better in game 2 than he had for the previous like 3 or 4 games, but he needs to keep that going. He needs to be the scorer that he is. Jaylen Brown, he had a couple of big baskets at the end, but he missed a potential game tire, so that's not good. But he was like the least of my worries watching that last game. They needed to get him the ball more, if anything. So everyone else is really they've got to do their job. That's really the bottom line. It's like Bill Belichick would say, do your job. I don't know if Gordon Hayward's going to play tonight. I'm assuming he's not going to, but it doesn't look like it. We'll see what ends up happening. I don't know how much time he would play or if he would start if he were to come back tonight, but maybe that helps, maybe that hurts because he's been gone for so long. Who knows? All I know is I think they need Marcus Smart back to the bench and Gordon Hayward to be back not because Marcus Smart just hurts so much in the starting lineup, but the bench is just not good. Like I personally, no matter what he does, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna like seeing Brad Wanamaker on the court. I'm really like he could get an and one off a 3-point shot, 4-point play. I don't even know like anything, and I'm still not gonna like seeing that guy on the court. The rookies don't do too much for me. Grant Williams can play a few minutes. Robert Williams, Enes Kanter, like these guys, the bench is just not good, and the depth it's really showing compared to the Miami Heat's depth, which is great. They were one pick away. The Celtics were one pick away from getting Tyler Hero, and naturally the Miami Heat are the ones that ended up with him, and he's one of the best rookies in the league this year. And the Celtics ended up with Romeo Langford, and he can't find his way off the bench. So, that you can't do anything about that. It's unfortunate that they couldn't get Tyler Hero instead, but he was picked to pick before them. I don't know. It's not all doom and gloom. I wouldn't say that, but the Celtics really need a win tonight. Like they desperately need a win tonight, or this series is all but over. And hopefully, like I said, everything that happened after Game 2 helps with Game 3. Because if it doesn't help with Game 3 and the series as a whole, there's a serious long-term problem with the Boston Celtics. And I know nobody in this city or in New England wants to see that. That is a Celtics fan. So that's all I have on the Celtics. Go Celtics. I hope they win tonight. I'll be watching. I hope everyone else will be too. I know I wanted to just make it about the Celtics. I just want to say one quick thing real quick about the Patriots. It looks like they are going to play on Sunday. The air quality in Seattle leading up to tomorrow night is looking pretty good, so there's that. That's good news. Sunday Night Football, Patriots against the Seahawks. That's going to be a great game, I think. And that's all I really have for everyone today. I'm going to try to come out with a Red Sox video maybe tomorrow, if not the next day on Monday, because the MLB shortened 60-game season is coming to an end very soon. The playoffs are about to start. Teams have already clinched their playoff spots. There's still a few left, but we're starting to get there. I know baseball and the MLB isn't exactly what everyone's looking forward to right now, but still got to talk about it. So expect that for my next video. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the support. I know I say this at the end of every video. Thank you to everyone for the support and the outpour of likes and people telling me to keep it up. And I'm trying to make some more videos as quickly as I can over the last few days. I don't know if everyone's noticed that. I'm sure my social media pages are pretty annoying, some Snapchat, Instagram, and all of that. So, I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to like it, and please subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 100 subscribers. That's crazy to think about. I really appreciate that. So thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.